G'day, Ianapolis, Australia here, aka Ianapolis, your acrylic guru. Now today I would love to be doing a painting, but not always I can paint, so today is a lesson on understanding art, alright? And that's a bit important because some people might forget to understand art, such as painting. I'm a painting artist, so I concentrate on painting. There's a lot of different other types of art, drawing, so on and so on. Anyway, I'm going to need a drink though before we start, because I don't like to be too miserable and drained and what's that word? Hydrated. I don't like to be unhydrated, so I'm going to hydrate myself and come back in a tick. Okay, so take it away, Steve. So where were we? That's right, understanding art, okay? Oh, before you say anything, I'm not an alcoholic. It's a hot day here, and I might just have one beverage a day, or if it's really, really bad and I've got a lot of good company, I might take it to two, but I just want to get one of these to hydrate myself today, alright? It'll be a lot more soothing and relaxing. But I want you to understand art, and there's a lot of things involved in art, and a lot of people, a lot of beginners, this is to you beginners out there, watch tutorials, they watch teachers, they look at things and want to paint, and they just might think, well, it's just a matter of buying paints and painting stuff, and either it works or it doesn't, and if it doesn't work, why doesn't it work for me? Well, that's why I'm bringing you this video today. So you can understand art, and when you understand it, you're going in there all worked up in the head of knowing what's to come out of your art. I'm just looking at my monitor there to make sure everything's all right there. All right, so, and also I've got to keep looking at my monitor because there's you can see the times on there, and if every file goes over a certain amount of time, it just makes my editing process more longer, so that's why I do these little things. Anyway, so where were we? Understanding art, and let's first start with the actual paints and the mediums, alright? We'll start with some basic paints. Let's just say, alright, there's obviously acrylic and there's oil paints, alright? I myself stick to acrylics, someone else you're obviously doing oils. Anyway, that's because I'm an acrylic guru and I paint acrylics and I teach how I paint in acrylics and my habits. That's what we're going to talk about today. So you obviously have your paints and your mediums. Okay, you're a beginner and you're going, what's a medium? What's this he's talking about, mediums? A medium is a product that you add to your paints. It's an additive. Whether you're using oil-based paints or acrylic paints, the mediums are thinners or water or retarders or glazes or impastos. Anything that you're adding, it's an additive to your paints. We all talk about it, and it's a medium, or some people even say media, okay? And some people want to do a whole painting in the one media. They don't want a mixed media, mixed mediums. They just want it all paint, whatever. Each to your own. Every artist is individual and every art piece is different. Nothing is better than the other, they're just different. That's what art's all about, I think. Anyway, so a medium, like in mine, the only medium I ever use, even if you want to call a water an additive medium, I use just water and a clear medium retarder. It even says it on the bottle there, I'll show you that. Okay, that's what I use. And that's for acrylic. Now that is a medium, and that medium's purpose is to slow down the drying time of your acrylic paints, because sometimes, depending on the climate where you are, the paint can dry up and you're not getting time to merge and blend your work. So that's where this comes in hand. Sometimes you can use water if you've got a good quality paint, if you've got an interactive paint, as in acrylic, you can use water, it interacts and enables you to work it again before it's actually 100% dry. But I use a retarder, mixed it in with my paints, and it helps these paints, instead of just sitting like this, they kind of go like this. That's the way I see the mechanics of it in my mind. Now down here we have the paints, and like I'm using, here's a brand that I use and I highly recommend. It's a very good quality, Matisse. He's a famous artist back in the day, but I'm using Matisse paint. Now you'll notice there's a flow quality and a structured quality. This structured quality for you people, you very early beginners and you're not understanding paints, that's thick, gluggy, and you can virtually make a structure out of it, but you can't, it's paint. And the flowing paint is more watery and runny and oozy, so it's a flowing paint. So they're the two different paints, okay? And the mediums, like I haven't used this one yet. This is a retarder, but this is a white one. I'll just put a bit on there so you can see. I've never used this before yet. Better the devil you know, rather than the one you don't. But I'll do that one day and work out how it works. If it works the same, well then I can incorporate it into my tutorials. Alright? And this is obviously the clear one. It looks like an oil, but it is not oil, and you do not mix oils with your acrylics to hope it to work as a retarder. That won't work. This is a proper product from the art supplies, and it's made to interact with your acrylic paints and retard the drying time down, which retard means slow. Okay, so hence why it's called a retarder. Now we'll get on to the flow paint and the structured paint. And a good thing else about these Matisse paints, they have a little flip cap. That's why I like them as well. And you can leave it open or just, that's it, it's closed. Now look at this. See how that's, see the texture, oh it's got a bit of dry, let's put a bit more there, so as you know what I mean, it had a dry skin on it, but see that, the texture of it, the thickness, the volume and the body, that's got structure in it, okay? You can, it'll structure, it won't sit down and flow. Now this one here, this is the flow paint, same brand, but it's a flow paint, where's the cap? And this one, look at that, this one, let's wipe that. This one, look at that, that's flowing. That's a lot more. That's good if you're going to start using wet on wet, or you can even wet it down a little bit more. It's good for that kind of work. Also, another thing you can do is, while you're in the learning stages, because, you know, back in 2012, my first year in 2012, that's where I was learning, and I stumbled across things, and you will stumble across things, and you soak it up. Understand the colour wheel. Now you can go to your art shops and buy a colour wheel, or you can even just simply print one off Google Images. That's a colour wheel there. Now I'm going to explain to you on my whiteboard how a colour wheel simply works. And you know what? You know how numbers are mathematical? So are colours in a way, but they're scientifically mathematical in their coloured ways. So you have your coloured wheel here, right? There's your coloured wheel. Get in here so you can have a better look. Okay, we got our colours there. They're the prime colours, okay? Primary colours. And if you're starting off to paint, and you're wondering what sort of paints, how many colours to buy, which I did do, well, you only need those three plus your black and your white. So you have your black and your whites, and then out of those two colours there, you can lighten these values and you can get your grey colours going. And then once you've understood the basics of your, hang on, I'll get this one out here a bit more, shouldn't have put that one there. You can go into more technical colours, but this is just beginner's colours, okay? So then out here, okay, you've mixed these two primes to get this colour, those two primes to get this colour, and those two primes to get that colour, okay? Which these ones here become the secondary colours. All right, you don't have to know if they're secondaries, but if you see it in writing or literature, you know what they're talking about, okay? A secondary colour, okay? Which is yellow and red. Oh, I think that red's dried up on me. You know, you're getting your oranges. And then your red, but reds, understand, red is a very strong colour. And your blue is going to make, let's get a bit more red in there, a purple. Okay, and watch what the white does. That's pretty dark, but a bit of white in there, it shows that colour. Okay, and then you have your blue and your yellow, which we all know makes green. And look, you put a bit of white in that, and it really, you know, you can have fun with the whites. Right, I've gone and contaminated that. You can have fun with your whites, brightening them up. It's good fun. Okay, so there are our secondary colours. You're learning this. The more you learn this, the more you can see colours in colours. Like you might see a blue sky with some cloud formation, and those clouds are dark, and you can, once you're understanding how the colour wheel and the colours work, you can see that's blue, but I can see that's got red in it, because you've been understanding how these colours work and what they do. So we've got our secondary, and the next one beyond that is a tertiary colour, which is the third. So we've got prime 1, secondary for 2, and tertiary for 3, which is the 3 colours, okay? So you get this colour, that colour, that colour, and so on around the board. And these are making your tertiary palette colours. You can come in again. Now it's going to be a bit fun because everything's dry. But a tertiary is your, this one here and a bit of that one there is making that tone. This primary and the secondary that you created, those two mixed together is going to create this tertiary over here. All right? And so on. Your primary and your tertiary of here is going to mix up. So if anything, this green mixed up from the prime and the secondary, you'll get, this side will be a yellow green, this side will be a blue green. All right? So you're mixing up this one there and this lighter green there. It's more of a yellow green. It's not working now because everything's dried up, and so on. These all became your tertiary colours. And beyond that, it just gets more technical and spider webbed out. So on this colour, well, this is just one that I printed out from the internet there. And on here you can see you've got the yellow, which is here. You've got the blue, which is here, and the red, which are your primaries, this one, and this one. And in between those two, the primary colours, we mix them and we got the secondary colour here. So in between there is our secondary colour, okay, which is what was happening down here. All right, and then in between the yellow and the red and our secondary colour here, or in between this one and that one, we created our tertiaries. So that's a tertiary, that's a tertiary, tertiary and a tertiary. That's how it's all happening. And there's more technical ones that go way, way on and beyond, and they look beautiful and lovely to look at as well. So that's a little bit of insight in colours and understanding colours, and also in the process of understanding your art. Now there are also other things, surfaces you might want to paint on or experimenting on. And for you beginners out there, you're best off, in my opinion, just buy some reasonable but not over the top expensive artist quality canvas boards and practice on those. You can even buy canvas paper pads and practice on them. And what you need to do, like I have a lot of questions in mind. I I'm making a mess. I can't work it out. You know why? You need to practice first. Practice like, what have we got here? Like, where are we? Practice this clouds. Like, do any background colour, preferably a blue, and do it the way I've done it in the painting. If you're very first off, haven't done a proper full scape painting, say, oh, I like the way he did that sky there. Oh, and that cloud. Oh, beautiful. All right, you haven't painted one before, so don't go and try and paint the whole painting. Practice that cloud. So do what I do. Make sure your canvas is prepped and you get your flowing white paint and with a retarder and paint it up. And then the next procedure, how did Ian do that cloud? Well, obviously he's put the blue sky on there, so get your blue and mix it how I've done it in the tutorial, painting the painting, with the retarder and paint that up. So your blue, it's got retarder and your clouds are going to blend and sit into that blue. You're seeing how I'm doing it. So practice that procedure. Practice procedures in a tutorial, whether it's one of my tutorials or somebody else's out there in the big wide world, okay? Practice what they're doing, and once you have conquered that, oh, I'm happy with that, I've got it, then you can start putting it into a painting. You can just do a painting of an horizon line and clouds, and then start working out foregrounds and what's at the bottom of the horizon line, whether it's a field or like up here, a lake or something. And then practice how to do water, how to do grass, hills, distance, okay? That's another way to understand art, is you understand, I've got to learn how to do it before I do it. Don't watch a tutorial and think, well, you're entitled to do it. Practice it first, all right? It's that easy, I'm telling you right now. Okay, another thing I'd like to open your eyes to for beginners is knowing that every painting does not have to be painted flat. And what I mean by that, let's just say this is you here, your face, okay, a bit of a nose, eye, whatever, and hair, whatever, and a mouth. All right, you're looking at your painting, there's your canvas. So you're looking at that painting that way, all right? That's how you're looking at your canvas. So that's how I want to explain this next thing. Let's just say this is your canvas, all right? And you obviously have a horizon line in that canvas. You're looking at it that way, okay? Now, what you need to take into consideration is there's the background of your canvas there. In between there and the foreground, all this area here is atmosphere. And once you've conquered the layout and a setup on a painting, and you're painting good clouds and good foregrounds and that, start understanding the atmosphere, okay? And the atmosphere is the air between the front of the lens and the back of the photo, so to speak, which is your painting. Now, I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about just there. Like, there's a painting I did down by the river. I painted it for beginners, how to paint the sky, whatever, tree, foreground. But this painting has no atmosphere. You know why? All these trees here are the same depth and value in colour as coming towards the front, because if you look at that, that's like a bay, if anything, and there's no atmosphere. But I'm not going to go too technical in showing a beginner all that in a basic tutorial. I want them to at least construct a painting like that. That's why I haven't put the science into it, all right? So this air, where you're looking from here and back into the painting, to create that atmosphere, which is here. Hang on, just let me activate my mouse a bit more so it won't lock up. To create this atmosphere here, and you want to start getting more realism into your photos, or not photos, your paintings, you look at the atmosphere. Now in this painting, the atmosphere excuse me, is the sky. So the sky colour is here. That's the sky colour. And if there's nothing there, it's just a sky paling down to a pale sky. But we've got trees here. So let's just say there's our bank of trees, big and small, coming towards the front. From here all the way to the front. Okay? There's our trees. Now that colour, you've got that colour on your palette as well. But to create this atmosphere, the more further at the back, the more faded they are. So let's just say this is such and such a blue. Get this colour, pale that down with the sky colour, okay? You'll mix that colour, and that's the beginning of your bushes, let's say to that point there. So all this about here. If I had ones even on a hill and background, they'll be even more pale. Now, you're using the same greens, you get some more of the blue, and you're not using direct green, you've paled it down with the sky colour, okay? And now, you've got this colour here, which is paled down. Now bring that back and add a little bit more, which is going to make this next section a bit darker and a bit closer to the front foreground. And then get this colour, and you're going to create the next section, and then you can use the full-on section right at the very front. Alright? And that way you'll look like you have distance, and it's the same with the sky. You might have heard me in my videos say, let's create an atmosphere. So a lot of the times I could be doing a video and the sky might look flat. So let's draw this scenario over here. There's your canvas board, and there's where you're looking at it. There's the depth right into it. You're looking at it sideways like this. You're looking at it that way. You want to look into it. So normally you can paint your clouds all the way back here. They look flat against the back wall of your painting. So what you can try and do when you start, you've got to hold on the actual layout and how to do clouds and trees and whatnot. Then you can start working out, there's your horizon line again, there's the front of it, and you're looking at it from here. Let's try and get those clouds coming out from the back and over the sky, so you're getting that sphere feel. I don't know how you spell it, like a round, you know, like the globe. So you're getting that sphere field. When you're beginning and learning, they might just look flat, and then you're bringing them forward. So then you can start incorporating that habit to your painting. None of mine have got that because I'm teaching beginners, but this, see how I brought this down? That's got the atmosphere from there down to the horizon line, okay? Now, if I wanted this to happen in, say, like this painting here, I could have had this one in front of that one and a lot more smaller down there, and start bringing them up and more mazed over the top here, so you're getting that look of them coming out and forward and sphering over your head. I don't want to complicate a beginner's tutorial too much, okay? So we're understanding our art, and there's a lot of tutorials out there. They teach different ways, and they have their own habits, and they even have their own style, and it shows in their work. So being a beginner, do not look for a style. It'll find you in your habits, because you'll have habits and that'll show in your work, okay? That's how your style becomes visual to other people, and lo and behold, people can say, well, that's a such and such a painting. It's because they're familiar with that artist's habits, all right? And so experiment with paints and everything, but if you want to get longevity out of your art journey and you really want to go places with it and feel satisfied, get the good stuff, get good paints, get good mediums, go into your art store and educate yourself and ask questions. That's exactly what I did. And I'm not a full bottle on everything, but things I do know, I love to teach you about, okay? I'm not always going to be here and trying to paint a fancy, lovely picture. Wow, look at my painting, ain't I a good artist? I'd like to show you aspects on how to do certain things. So get yourself some good paints if you're going to have longevity out of your art journey, and understand the colour wheel. That's an important one, because also, I'll be truthful with you, there's complementary colours on the colour wheel, alright? And the opposites complement each other. Like you can draw a flat red circle on a canvas, or not a flat red circle, paint a flat red circle, and then you can colour that, understanding what colours complement each other to give that its shadow, alright? And that helps you with your art as well. Another way to understand your art is when you're driving down the road, you're looking at trees or clouds and you can see brush strokes in them. But you know what a lot of people don't do? I mean, the realistic artists that do a lot of realism and that, they capture everything. I've got to take my hats off to those people. But say like this tree here. I've done this in a tutorial. I've done the tree, fair enough. But what really makes a picture, a painting in my eyes, really pop a lot better than another one is giving it the right shadow and shade in the right spot. And I'm just going to grab my texter pen permanent marker here now and just show you on this tree what I mean, alright? So, we've got the trees, we've branched it out, they're sort of going backwards and forwards, but if anything it's still looking like a flat fan on the paint on the canvas board there. So normally you've done a painting and your sun's coming from this way or that way, but in this one the sun's high in the sky, but there's shadows in this tree, but they're not painted in there. So in my mind, that's why I put all these black branches in there to create that. But what I'm trying to say, if you drive down the road and have a look at a tree, the opening in the branches and everything, you'll see like they have shadows over the trunk. Well, I'm just going to sort of create some shadows over the trunk here, over these branches, because there's, you know, we don't do this. But if you can have a look at a tree and see all the shadows everywhere, you'll understand what I mean. And it just starts giving the tree a bit more realism. Even though you haven't gone for realism, it's gone and given it realism. So we've got shadows everywhere. Shadow from here sort of coming down over this one here. It might look like a lot of black lines, but you're giving your tree a bit of shadow, which turns it on. So you've got all sorts here. I'm just mucking around here, but you get a gist of what I'm meaning. Shadows. Alright, can you see how that's just changed the tree a bit? I mean, it could have had foliage on it, but it's a dead tree. But that's what I'm talking about. Here is another example, but in this painting I've put the shadows on the tree trunk, okay? So the sun's coming from this way here, so it's casting shadows onto the tree trunk. And you can see if I never had shadows of the fence post there, it probably, they might look floating. So shadows, see the shadow of the tree, probably could have been a bit bigger, but they sort of open the windows to your painting and give it a breath of fresh air. What about just this was a quick simple one here. When I did this one, it never had the shadow, but you can imagine if that shadow wasn't there, you can see the shadow of the tree there. Now the difference it creates to the painting, and whether it's anything that needs a shadow, you try and put those shadows in and it just gives that painting a breath of fresh air. Alright, so you might do a lesson and you've done your painting. I've done it a lot, and I'm pretty sure a lot of other people do it. You've got your painting there, and you finished it, and in your mind you thought, oh, could have been a bit better. I would have minded it turning out a lot better or different than it has. Leave it there. Walk past it every other day. I've done it, and sometimes you get ideas and you're seeing things around and you click and you go, that's it. So then you can go back to it and you're fine-tuning it. Just because you've done a painting in a sitting and it's finished, it doesn't mean that's the end of that painting. You're still entitled to carry on until you want it to be finished, okay? And then when it's framed up and sold and it's hanging somewhere or someone, that's when it's really finished, all right? But while it's still in your care, understand you can always go back to it and add things. I've done it to some tutorial ones I've done, like this, in the tutorial of this was the Lake Munga tutorial. Now if you look at this, to the finished version I did in the video, where are we? this, I've done more work to this, okay? Because when I've done it, I just wanted to do more things. And see, like the water here, to me, I would like to do more to that. This one here, down by the river, I changed this a lot after the video, because the lake came around more. I had a jetty and it wasn't straight, and I thought, nah, that's a bit nonsense. So I've changed this one as well. So you're entitled to do that with your art. Brushes can be quite tricky with your art. You're going to have to experiment with those. I did go to the art store and I bought like sets of different flatheads, fan brushes, some that are sturdy and firm and some that are soft. And then I've gone to the home hardware stores and bought some 2-inch brushes with a more broader surface on the edge there. I find them great for my style of blending. And like I said in the beginning of the video here, I'm only using the acrylic paints and the clear retarder. That's the only medium I'm adding to my paints there. There's not a whole lot more to it. You can make your paintings as difficult and scientific as you like, but you just need to keep it simple, and that's a smart thing to do, all right? And if you're happy with the finish, you know, that's all you need. But if you're going to do another thing, you're getting good at your work, and people are saying, look, can you paint me this? I'll pay you $100, $500, whatever. That's when you've got to start putting quality paints, quality canvases, and putting a bit more care into your work. But if it's not getting sold and you're happy with the way it's turned out, that's fine. But if someone wants to buy it as it is, that's even fine as well. But to remember, if you're doing a job for somebody that they want to pay you for it, well, you put quality paints in there and put it on a good canvas as well. And like I said, you only need canvas boards to practice on, because I used to get stretch canvases and I was wasting a lot of those, and I was frustrated, and I'll go and look at YouTube tutorials there and watch them, and I'm picking up more things. And I still go on there today and watch some of the really good guys and that are a bit beyond beginners, so they're still teaching me as well, all right? I'm not just, right, I know everything, I don't need to look at anybody else, I'll just teach everybody. No, I'm still learning as well, and what I learn I like to pass on to you beginners, because there was a lot I didn't get when I was watching them, so those are the things that I bring into my videos, all right? I love doing it, I love teaching you people. And guess what, you've probably heard, I'm trying to get myself and my son Reese over to America there, so we can we're going to have a trip, and I'm going to plan it out on my Facebook page, so follow me on there. But this is to all you subscribers out there. I'm going to need your help to get us there, because when we get there, I'll be showing people where we're going, and if you can get within that area, we can meet, because I'd love to meet as many people as I can, meet up with other artists as I can, take some photos and meeting and greeting. And if I get enough funds, I want to take a lot of my shirts there and just give them to people and give them the blending brushes that I use. If you like blending the way I do and you get to meet me, they're yours. I'll be putting them in your pocket and you just take them home. You know, I'm not after nothing. I just want to get out there and meet people. You know, I'm getting old now, and why do all this and just sit back? I want to take a step forward and try and meet these people out there, okay? And we can make it happen if we all put it together. But that's going to be in another video. This one was just about understanding art, and once you've got a good understanding of it, it helps you produce more satisfying work. All right? So do remember, it's not a contest. Everyone's work is just different, all right? I want to thank all my subscribers there. I think we're over the 25,000 mark. We're nearly hitting 26,000 subscribers. So thank you very much. And you are what making this wheel turn around, and I'm loving it. And I want to try and start meeting you people. First, I want to get to America, because the majority of my followers are in America. So I want to try and get there and meet who I can, all right? And then maybe England, and see from there, because there's a few in England as well. And I am what I am. I don't know everything, but I'm just a happy person. I love teaching art, and that's what it's all about, all right? So I might wrap this up. And oh, love that. And Wish you all the best. My next video, keep a lookout for that. It's not going to be a tutorial, but it's about my journey. So keep an eye on that, all right, for that one. All right, I'll leave a link in the description below for my Facebook page, so you can follow me on Facebook. You can add me as a friend. You can ask me questions, and you'll see all my updates as I put them on when I'm doing that trip. All right, so that'll be in the link below, and also I'll leave a link to my playlist. That'll take you to my video playlist, and they'll all be grouped together, and there's over 130 videos in there, and there's a lot of tutorials in there. There's a lot of hidden tips and just things like that, questions and stuff as well. There's a bit of everything in there, all right? So do yourself a favour, click on the playlist link and save it in your bookmarks, so you can go to it and they're there, and you can reference from it as well, all right? So you take care. And if you like what I showed you today, you tell a friend, but if you don't, tell everybody, all right? All the best, goodbye, good luck, and it's not good onions, it's good on you. Good on you.